Sometimes in life, there are moments when the background noise of this everyday world
Why, every time I hear that train,
find a way of bringing a painful reality
it just makes me feel lonely.
directly into the forefront.
My life stopped. It ended, you know what I mean? It came to a halt, and this train kept on going like nothing had happened.
Life moves on. And for Caroline Longshore, that train has become a trivial yet agonizing reminder that her husband is gone.
When I hear that train every night, it's just like, doesn't it know what I lost? Doesn't the people know who are on that train? Shouldn't they stop too?
A sad day for BYU football fans.
Former offensive lineman Nick Longshore died yesterday
After an ATV crash hospitalized him last week.
6'5" and pushing 300 pounds, a man like Nick Longshore seems almost indestructible. An offensive lineman at BYU, number 72, had Cougar blood pumping through those veins. Arms that could knock you down, but often used to pick people up. And that smile?
Oh, he was so kind. You know, the kindest person you'd ever meet.
Oh, he had a smile you could probably see from the cheap seats.
Every time he worked really hard, you could tell when he was proud of himself. It was from that smile.
On their wedding day, Nick had that smile, the same smile he wore when Caroline first became pregnant. But the lines filling that happy face would soon fade. On November 13, 2012, their baby boy was stillborn.
You feel extremely guilty when you lose a child, like you couldn't do anything, you know? And I felt like I had taken something from Nick that he was entitled to. His son was gone.
It's not often new parents leave the hospital without a baby in their arms. But for Caroline, the emptiness she felt at that moment,
Losing a son and now my husband, just doesn't seem real.
had suddenly become more hollow.
It's not a coincidence that Nick's accident was on the 1-year anniversary of our son. Everything is for a reason.
A reason that within time would be revealed. Flashback 45 years, it was 1969. And the University of Utah had a pretty good basketball team with one of the school's great all-around players in Kenny Gardner. 6'5", 200 some odd pounds, and doing the job on both ends of the court. Couple of things now you should know about Gardner. First off,
I wanted to beat them hard every time I played them.
he is not a big fan of BYU.
We had no sympathy. They were our bitter rivals.
And number two, he had a heart that just would not quit. Or at least that's what he thought. 4 decades later, and that Utah blood
So I was starting to get weaker.
was barely pumping.
They said, "You're our patient. You're our candidate. You have bad heart failure. You need a new heart."
There were more than 50 people on the transplant list ahead of Gardner. The blood type had to match, and the heart, well, it had to be a big one.
I can't get a 5 1 inch, 105-pound woman's heart. It just won't work because I'm 6'5". It's got to get all the way from there to there. Has to be the same size.
Now, it should be noted, only about 3% of the population has the frame of Kenny Gardner, meaning the wait time alone could be the end. But on November 22nd,
The phone rings. They say, "It's a go."
this man on the doorstep of death was about to get his chance at a new life. The transplant, a success.
So I lay my head down the first night, and it's like, boom, boom, really strong.
Kenny Gardner had a new heart. What he did not know
Yeah, I knew he was a donor.
is who it once belonged
I
to.
didn't want it to go somebody who wasn't grateful in the first place, somebody who just didn't care, who didn't understand what they had.
It is not uncommon for the family of a donor to never know who the recipient is. But in a strange twist of events,
She said, "I know who has Nick's heart."
Do you mind if I put you on speakerphone?
both sets of families
And I was like, "What are you talking about?"
How do you know I'm the recipient?
managed to figure things out.
I think it's a Mother's Day gift from Nick.
We know you're the recipient. So,
And just like that, the decision was made.
Walked around the beach.
Caroline had not felt the beat of her husband's heart since he had passed. But on that day, there was no doubt those two hearts were reunited.
here, now feel this beat. Oh.
He said, "Feel that beat right there." It was surreal.
Could you feel the beat?
Yeah, pounding.
She looks up at me and says, "That was just like I was hugging Nick."
Sometimes in life, there are moments when the background noises remind us that life moves on. It has for Ken, it will for Caroline, and it certainly does
You wake up for us? I smile.
for this 2-month-old baby girl. Sad reality is she will never know the feeling of being held in the arms of her own father. But because of his gift,
Holding close to me, listening to her father's heart beat in my chest. It's amazing.
she will always have the chance to be close to his heart.
I want Hannah to see what Nick gave somebody. And I want her to know what it means to give somebody something special like that, you know?